Welcome to Whiskey Wednesday, where we drink the finest whiskey and we argue about the internet's most important topics.
Because if there's anything that the internet doesn't love more, it's arguing and telling people that they're wrong.
True that, Greg. Listen, with each topic, we're gonna pick a side. We may not agree with that side, but I'll tell you what, we're gonna die on that hill.
Grab something to drink, sit back, and enjoy.
I'd really like to reach out to you, ask you from the bottom of my heart, please like and subscribe to this video because we like you, and I bet you, if you're really nice and you subscribe, Greg will put puppies on the screen for you. You do that for him? If they subscribe?
Tell you what, if we get 25 subscribers between this episode and the next episode, I will put an adorable video of puppies frolicking.
Can we go play with puppies to get the video?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
It's a date. I'm going to play with puppies. You're welcome to come or not. What do you got for me today, Greg?
All right, today we are going with a Weller, which is a wheated bourbon. So I think last week we did a rye.
Yeah, we did do a rye.
I love ryes, and to me, wheated is kind of the opposite of rye. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you think of this.
This bottle got curves, man.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah, she does.
So I'll tell you a little bit about Weller. I did a little research on Weller. If you wanna kind of pour that for us tell us about here. So 1849, William LaRue Weller, who was a fourth generation Weller, began as a wholesaler and started Weller and Sons started out with his brother, and they went through a couple of business iterations, ended up with Weller and Sons, and really became a prominent brand of whiskey in Kentucky. In 1893, William hired Julian Pappy Van Winkle.
I know that name.
Everybody knows that name.
Mr. Pappy.
Hired Pappy as just a salesman.
Oh.
And after William passed away, Pappy and his coworker Alex Farnsley purchased the company. When Prohibition began, they merged with P.H. Stitzel Distillery, which we've talked about them in the past, to create Stitzel Weller. And they opened up on Derby Day of 1935. So it's always fascinating for me as I kind of do some history on these to see how names kind of intermingle and stuff. So it's funny to see,
Weller.
Pappy, which is one of the most well-known and beloved names in the industry, got his start because of a Weller hiring him as a salesman. I mean, I hired you as a salesman. Imagine
one day I'm gonna go
where you might be.
Make one of the best reloads in the world. Apparently we haven't hit that, but that's what I'm gonna do.
So, which Pappy is also a wheated bourbon.
Right.
So, and it's one of the reasons why I've not been like dying to try to pay big money for a bottle of Pappy. However, I would love to get just a couple ounces of Pappy. So if you are somebody who has Pappy and you want your bottle of Pappy to be featured on this show, whatever it is.
If you have Pappy and are willing to travel, please contact
travel
us.
or ship it or whatever, please let me know, because I would love to maybe even follow this with Pappy next week would be really cool.
I know some people with Pappy.
I would love to try it. I've never had it, but it kind of comes from all this. So,
judging from its history, I bet it's very similar to this.
Yeah, and so I actually have a bottle of Antique, which is 105 proof, at my house. And from what I've told, I think you mix this with Antique, it's supposed to be poor man's Pappy or something like that. You're supposed to be able to mix a couple of bottles of Weller. This is a $23 bottle.
And what is Pappy?
I think they're selling for $5,000 or something like that.
$5,000
for like a 12-year, maybe $2,000.
Wish we had products that could sell for $5,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is it's a 90 proof.
Okay.
Medium. I guess before I talk about the notes that it says on the website, I want us to try it and see.
Okay.
See what we think. I like that it's got a great smell. And I feel like every time...
All right, hold on, I can get this.
I feel like every time I have Weller, I almost have a different a different flavor profile to it. And I haven't eaten anything in a while.
A little spice.
Or drank anything, so I have a very clean palate.
I don't get the honey super hot. I figured there'd be some honey in here.
It is a much more mild,
Yeah.
mild flavor profile.
A little oak aftertaste.
Yeah, so one of the words that they use, which I kind of laughed at,
Okay.
is they use the word delicate. I thought that was kind of a funny word to use, but it might be kind of true. It is not.
I could chug that. It's not strong.
No, and it's 90 proof, so it's not weak either.
Right.
But it's very smooth. It's kind of sweet, but not crazy sweet. It's kind of oaky, but not crazy oaky. It's kind of a very
straight middle of the road.
Straight, simple.
Yeah. Though I will say one thing that I like about this is the after change, or the after. Oh, words are coming out first. The after flavors. What is it called? After taste is steady. Sometimes you get these and they're like peppery, and then like it goes to like oaky, and then it gets a little like staley. But this, it's got a nice long lingering aftertaste, and I think that's a good thing.
It's not complex. There's not a lot of notes to it.
Yeah.
But it's very simple, and I think it is a $23 bottle. I don't think there are people who are paying a lot of money for these because again it's coming out of Buffalo Trace, and so everything that they seem to sell seems to be hard to get. So the prices go up with it, but I don't think it's worth double.
I would agree.
Maybe $50. Like if you have a hard time finding it or something like that,
you never tried it.
You finally get a bottle. Our friend Vance, I think, has like 30 bottles of this stuff now. He loves it.
Yeah, I see him online trying to get rid of them.
He's got. I think he was hoping that there's value there, and so he's been trying to trade him and stuff like that. But he also just really loves weeded bourbon. Yeah. So for him, it's something that he actually.
I gotta say, weeded not bad. If this is a good indicator of what weeded bourbons taste like, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I like it better than rye.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I think it is more of a middle road between like corn and rye, and there's like that wheat. It feels like it's kind of in the middle. So
yeah, I definitely don't prefer this over a bourbon or rye. I don't dislike it. You know, it's nice to have on the shelf. So
yeah,
for me, would I buy it again? Yes, I'd like to always have a bottle. This is not going to be one that I'm going to buy 20 bottles of like Vance does, and make sure that I always have it on. I'm not going to make sure it's always on my shelf, but it is something that I like to have. And you can get like a handle of this stuff, like a big bottle, for like $50-$60 or something like that.
That's cool.
So
I would say that this is a middle of the road whiskey for me. It's nothing fantastic. I actually would say this would be a good baseline for what a whiskey should taste like. Like, this is a good whiskey, so I'd give it a 5.
Okay.
Nothing. It's not terrible.
Do you remember what you gave Eagle Rare?
I don't have to go back and look.
Because to me, Eagle Rare is what is kind of a baseline. That is what I think. It's very simple.
What did the bottle look like on the Eagle Rare?
It's a wine bottle with the eagle.
Oh yeah. I thought that was the new.
I think you gave it higher than 5. So
I might have, but it also had a lot more oaky flavor. Is what I thought,
definitely.
And I like oaky flavor more than I like spice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where if it's oaky, I like oaky. I think it's a flavor I don't get very often.
I've drank out of this a couple times, so I was past neck pour. I do feel like it's kind of mild out a little bit.
Well,
but yeah, so now we've hit a wheat on here.
So what we've said is this may be a bit overhyped, but it's overall pretty good.
Yeah. Now there's like 6 different types of Weller.
Yeah.
Some of the other ones, like the Antique, is about a $50 bottle, and then, to me, it's a higher proof of this, and with that comes a little more complexity.
Probably a little more spice with it.
I think I like it a little more than this. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's a bunch of others. There's Blue Label one. I can't remember what it's called. There's a White Label. There's a bunch of other. That's kind of what these would go by. People call them Green Label or Red Label. They don't necessarily call them by the name.
Special Reserve.
So yeah, it's very good. It's definitely one that I like to have around, and was looking forward to getting on here. So we've now had bourbons, we've had Tennessee whiskey, we've had rye and wheat.
We should start rating these on what level of friendship does someone have to be with you before you'd share it with them, right? Like, I'd share this with my neighbor. That's the level of friendship.
No, it should be, because I have no problem sharing any of them. It should be, how angry would you be if somebody poured it into a Coke?
Oh, that's what we should.
I just
I like it.
At Christmas time, I don't think any of my family watches this, but if they do, so I would tell us to your face anyway. I had a real nice bottle of, I think, a 10-year Whistle Pig that I brought. And people are pouring it into Coke and stuff like that, and it kind of hurt me inside a little bit every time somebody did that.
That's funny.
I try to be like, you know what? Either way, they're gonna drink it.
They're having a good time.
However they want to drink it, okay. I definitely could have brought a cheaper whiskey to put into
Jack Daniels.
Into a Makers or something like that. Would have been I would have been less concerned, but yeah. So, but anyway. All right, so what do you say we get today's topic?
Yeah, what is today's topic?
So we are talking about bugging in versus bugging out, and this kind of came out of what we talked about last week, which was which vehicle of ours was the best for bugging out. And so far, there's not been one comment in favor of the Kia, but there's 2 or 3 in favor of the Jeep.
Yeah, they all DM'd me privately.
Yeah.
Like, I know this will hurt Greg's feelings.
Sure.
Your car's amazing. And I would take that Kia any day.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, again, like I thought would happen, I clearly won last week. But this week, I'm looking forward to getting into this because I think there are some good points on both sides of this. So I'm taking the side of bugging out, and you're taking the side of bugging in. Staying in. Now, there are countless situations.
Billions.
I don't know about billions.
Trillions.
I don't know about trillions. There's dozens of situations that I could think of where one would want to bug in, bug out. There's weather, and yet, like, we're in Ohio. We're in a pretty safe landlocked area here.
Don't breathe the whiskey.
You okay?
I'm good now.
Yeah, arms up. Arms up. Okay. You good?
We're good.
All right.
Yep.
Back to our topic. So there are dozens of reasons why I could think of somebody need to bug, whether it's in or out.
Yeah.
And rely on water and food and medical and all those things. For us in Ohio, we're pretty landlocked here, so it's hard for us to imagine like a hurricane or a volcano or something like that,
right?
Or a forest fire needing to force us out. But those are real things that happen year round.
Yep.
Around the globe, let alone in our country. So, except for the volcano, I've not really seen many volcanoes in the United States.
No, and when you do have a volcano on, like Hawaii or whatever,
if there is a volcano,
there's no place to go.
Yeah, you're done.
Bugging out is getting on a boat.
All you have is bugging out.
And dying.
So, but we've experienced a pandemic.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Where we had, thankfully, we had those 2 weeks where we just knocked it out. Like we all locked ourselves in our home for 2 weeks, and we just knocked that whole thing out.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, you don't remember that?
Oh dang!
I mean, it happened pretty quick.
That was the longest 2 weeks of my entire life. It's like 2 years.
Yeah, it just felt like 2 years, didn't it?
Yeah.
So we've experienced that to a small extent. Where I'll put it this way, I remember clearly. Us coming into the shop on a Saturday or Sunday.
We did actually have a
because we got firsthand knowledge that the governor was going to be announcing some sort of lockdown, and so we were like, okay, what do we need to do? We're trying to figure out what to do with the business here and figure out how to keep things going, which we had a plan. But I remember us talking about how we were going to swing through the grocery store and get some things because we didn't know what lockdown meant. This is the first time that
had no idea
that we had to deal with this.
Yeah,
and we already had some rations at home, but we figure
why not pick up some more?
Why? Yeah, and
someone took all of our toilet paper.
I remember going through the grocery store and aisles being empty and there being long lines and stuff like that. Yeah. So we've experienced it a little bit, and there's also there's also things that have not happened but could happen. You know, there's EMP attacks. There's all kinds of things where we may need to survive for whether it's weeks or months, God forbid years. So we're going to be kind of more coming from our current situation of you live somewhere.
I live somewhere.
That is, how much property do you have?
I have 0.32 acres, I think.
0.32 acres, a little postage stamp.
It's not a massive lot.
Lot, and you got a tiny little backyard.
I have more front yard than backyard,
in a neighborhood with a cul-de-sac.
Yep.
There's
near a stream, actually.
I mean, you're minutes from downtown Akron.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Which I struggle to call a city, but I guess technically it is.
It's just a group of people who don't have jobs. That's basically the entire thing. But,
so it is, you're closer to lower income.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more populated.
I'm very close to the ghetto, to be clear. I'm like minutes from the ghetto.
I live somewhere, I'm on 1.2 acres. But I'm in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
Of maybe 20 other homes.
Yeah.
And I'm another 20 minutes or so further away from the closest city, which is Akron.
Yeah.
And so I'm more removed, but I'm still not out of a populated area. Although I am minutes away from getting out into what we would call country.
Yeah.
Like where it's farmland.
Which
and
I'm also pretty close to country too.
Yeah, you are.
Just go there. South and there's nothing there.
What, 10, 15 minutes?
Yeah.
Like in the country. So, for those of you who are watching or listening, you may already be living somewhere where you have a hard time getting some internet connection. It takes you 45 minutes to get to a grocery store. Like you already may be kind of secluded. So, but I just want to kind of paint a picture of where we currently live.
That's what we got.
And in the situation that we're coming from. So, with that said, why don't you, I think you started last week, I'll start this week.
Okay.
Here are my 3 reasons why I'm going to plan on bugging out. Seclusion. If you live somewhere that's highly populated, you are now in competition with all of those people for resources, whether that's water, food, medical, all those things. You are now in competition with everybody in your region for those things. If I can go somewhere that is secluded, I have less competition with those people. I think that is optimal situation to be in. Number 2 is somewhere resource rich. Whether that is someplace that I've squirreled away things, so I have a bunker somewhere and I've spent years squirreling away things there where I can stay there for much longer than my own home. I have limitations and space and all those things of being able to fortify my home, whereas I can fortify and create a better situation somewhere else. Which also then leads me to my 3rd point, which is someplace that's more defendable. Yes, I have like an acre, but that's really in the grand scheme of things not much. There are homes near enough that we can shoot into each other's homes and each other's windows from the safety of our own home. So if I can create some space where I can create a boundary with alarm, with some sort of system that will warn me of people coming on, then I want to do that. So basically, I'm taking the side of I can make my home a good place to be, but why settle for good in a bug out spot when I can make some place that's great? And there are things that come with that, but that's kind of the side that I'm taking is don't settle for good, let's make great.
I take a side that's very different than that, and the way that I think about things are, regardless of what is currently happening, oftentimes a bird in the hand is worth 2 in the bush. And so one of my biggest complaints about bugging out instead of staying at home is all of my resources, right, are here. I can protect them. I can cycle through them. I can check batteries. I can make sure my food's still good. I can take care of all this stuff. Everything's known, right? And even though I may have a perfect location to go to, I know that this location is good. And so I don't think that it's worth the risk to traveling. For the most part, there are some scenarios like wildfires we talked about would be a scenario where you have to travel. Volcanoes, whatever else might be, tsunamis. I know that this is here. I know that I can control what's in this area. I already have control over it, and I don't have to take control over it. I also think that transit is dangerous in any scenario. More so than, say, just staying at home. Even if it's not a life and death situation, let's say it's just, maybe it's there's a hurricane coming in 2 weeks. Getting on the road can be an issue. And hurricanes, I'm sure there's like evacuation procedures and stuff, but I know a lot of people who just bunker down in their own home during a hurricane because they know what's here. They've prepared for this. They have shutters. They've got a house that's built for it, whatever, versus getting stuck on the road. And so there's some benefits to this. The other thing I think is important is you're already familiar with the area, the people, the environment, the situation that is at hand. And traveling somewhere else, even if it's 20 minutes away, you don't know what that situation is. Are all the roads blocked? Has somebody found my bunker and is trying to get into it, and now I have to go defend this bunker coming into it unprepared? And so something that I like to think about is, if it's here, it's under my control, I know the situation, I can evaluate the time that I have, I can evaluate the resources at hand, I can evaluate, what does the temperate feel like, and then make that decision, which at that point in time, I'm probably at a disadvantage because I don't have a bug out plan, but I feel that everything here under my control is easier to take care of. So, and lastly, most situations where people panic, communication becomes unmanageable. I remember when 9/11 happened, you couldn't really make phone calls. Do you remember that? And even, I remember during the most recent COVID issue, I had some weirdness where the phones weren't always making phone calls just because people were panicky during that 2 weeks of, we didn't know what was going on. And so the way I figure is, unless I've told all of my family where I'm going, which now the secret's out, everyone knows where you're going, when they come to look for me at my house or wherever, or even if I'm more familiar driving from my house to locations or traveling from that, it's nice to have a location where people can find you. And especially because you want people on your team when you're trying to survive. People don't do it alone. That's how I see it. You want people to come and know where to get you.
The downside is people know where you are and they can find you.
Yeah, I mean.
That's, if you have, I agree, communication is definitely, potentially, depending on what the situation is going to be an issue. And, do you have enough resources at your house for what other people that you're expecting to come to your house I don't
have a problem telling you no.
So you're expecting other people to bug out to your place, is what you're saying? Are you expecting that?
I simply expect that over time people are going to want to communicate with you, and if you have a disaster in which the phones are down, you have to be able to communicate. You have to trade resources with people. It's not like you can just go out into the wilderness and survive on your own. Even people who know how to do that have a difficult time doing that.
Yeah, no, it'd be foolish to, if your plan A is to bug out into the high country
and just backpack
and just live, that's not going to go well for you.
It's not happening.
You're leaving resources for the hope that there's resources and that you're going to be able to survive off the land and stuff.
Right. And if your plan is to be alone, now I know your plan's to take your family, but if your plan's to be alone, you can expect 30 to 60 days tops before you go psychotic or just get lonely and decide it's not worth it anymore. There's a whole TV show about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you need a group of people.
But don't you want to give yourself the best option for surviving? And is the best option to stay in your house in a highly populated place?
The best option is to have a bug-in plan and a bug-out plan. And then when your bug-in plan expires, you bug out to your bug-out plan.
Right.
But we have to argue over this now, so.
Well, but I also think let's talk about where you're talking about resources. Let's talk about the resources to be able to make this stuff happen.
Dude.
Creating this stuff is very expensive. And I'll be honest, like I was expecting one of the downsides for you to throw at me.
I didn't want to bring money into this.
Which is, how much does it cost to create a place like this?
A massive amount of money.
It's much. I would love
hundreds of thousands
a buried bunker.
I mean, millions of dollars.
Somewhere.
Yes.
In the high country of Colorado or something like that.
You probably do it for 100,000, but wouldn't be a nice one.
No.
I mean, it would be a tunnel.
I do. I have 5 people in my family, counting myself. 6 if I count the dog. Which to
you
me,
want to bring your dog? That's a cool dog.
Well, I mean, he's one of the plans if I get hungry enough.
That's right. He's a snack. He's got some meaty thighs.
That's why I don't have a tiny dog.
I mean, my dog. It's an afternoon snack. Yours is a meal.
I got 5 people to feed. Yours
That's right. I got 2.
You got 2. So
our dogs are proportionally sized to the amount of females we have to feed. My wife is gonna hate that I said that.
Sorry, Rigby.
You're right, though.
But yeah, I think if I have the perfect opportunity to create some place to get to, and I agree that getting there can potentially be an issue. For people who live on the coast and there's a hurricane coming, you have a pretty good heads up.
You're gonna know 7, 8, 10 days, right?
Yeah, and hopefully that's when you start bugging out, because I know that there's still traffic jams because people wait until.
And in that case, I really do think you need to have a quick plan sorted together, so when you find out you're leaving, you can just get your stuff and go. You don't have to like pack boxes and take a couple of days to get ready. That's, yeah, for sure.
And that's a whole other level of this is what state is your preparedness always in? Mm-hmm. What's it take to get your stuff and go if you have to go?
Yeah.
And have you already decided what you're going to take to go? Like
we keep get-home bags. I don't know if you still do.
Yeah.
I got a get-home bag, get-home car, basically.
I'm not great at keeping it, but if I'm going on a trip 2 hours or more, I'll throw it.
Yeah.
I'll throw it in there.
Typically, I keep like some sort of protection, some sort of first aid, and a map. I always have maps in my car. You never know when you're gonna need it. And then I also keep like food, water, like not like enough for a week, but enough that like if I have to walk home, I'm not gonna be mad that I don't have any water.
I have stuff in my bag to if I gotta sleep one night.
Yeah.
You know, if it's gonna take me 2 days to get home. If I'm 2 hours, if I'm 2-3 hours away,
and that's
and I gotta hike it back, it's
I got food, water.
It's gonna be a couple days.
Got waterproof.
You know, potentially hike back home. So
sleeping bag.
Yeah, I got stuff in there. Yeah. 4 or 5 people. We're not gonna be super happy about it, but we'll be alive.
Could handle it.
We'll be alive. To get back. So that's kind of what that bag's playing for.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
So let us know, what do you think? Are you on the side of bugging out is the best idea or bugging in is the best idea?
Yeah.
And what level of preparedness do you think that we should be at? Because I think if anything over the last, especially if you remember 9/11, if you remember back that far, but even just the last 2 years, because I'm pretty sure we didn't flatten things in 2 weeks. I think it did.
It did drag on for like a couple years of just annoyance.
Yeah, and they're still trying to drag it out. But anyway. If there's anything that we learn, is you probably learned in your area what resources are like when people panic, and kind of what level of preparedness that you need to be in. So let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your thoughts, and also let us know what you would like us to talk about.
Yeah. Do you want us to talk about prep and stuff? Do you want us to talk about cars? Give us some options.
Yeah,
we need some options.
We're getting outside of just gun-related stuff all the time.
Because we're having trouble thinking about things. And we need your help.
Things are going to start getting pretty silly.
Yeah.
Is what's going to happen here.
Pretty soon, the silly list, we're going to actually start turning into real topics.
We're going back to the silly list as our actual list.
So, please, we need that.
May be worth.
I don't think it is.
I think it'd be funny.
Yes. Especially some of the ones we wrote down today.
Yeah. All right. So here's some of them. bad ideas
All right.
for next week.
Okay.
What is the more reliable source for news, CNN or Babylon Bee?
Babylon Bee. 100% correct. I post it on the Facebook all the time. My man's like, I can't believe this is happening. Chill out, Karen. Like.
Oh, I agree with you on that. So that'd be a hard one to.
Yeah, we can't argue that.
All right, this one might get a little heated. I could actually see getting into this one. What is the best order of assembly for a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
That's easy.
Do you go bread, peanut butter, jelly, peanut butter, bread?
You putting peanut butter on twice?
Yes, peanut butter on both sides, sealing off the bread, making sure the bread does not get soggy. There's nothing worse than jelly-soaked bread.
No. So this is a time-honored tradition in the Ball family. Take bread. Take another slice of bread. Set those aside. You take peanut butter, you take jelly, you put them in a bowl, you mix them until they're the perfect concoction of peanut butter and jelly, so not any bite is too peanut buttery, not any bite's too jelly-y. Then you take it, lather on both loaves.
Psychotic.
Marry it together.
You're making dishes? That's one of the beauties about peanut butter and jelly is that you don't have to make dishes.
I haven't found a way to mix them on bread.
Although, you have to use two knives though. You have to use one for peanut butter, one for jelly.
You don't go straight from the peanut butter to the jelly?
You have to be a psycho to put peanut butter and jelly or jelly and peanut butter. I will straight up kick you out of my house.
Wait, why haven't they made one that just flips? Like it's two blades and you can like use the handle on the peanut butter side and you flip it?
It's like, do you remember what trip were we on where we wanted to get some food or whatever? I think we were training. We were shooting training class and we got that, what's the brand called where it's a peanut butter and jelly mix?
It's mixed in the container already.
Yeah, something like that. And it was awful.
It was terrible.
It was so bad.
It wasn't near as good as mixing them both together.
I remember when we were a kid that being pretty good, but it was awful.
It was pretty bad. I remember eating it still.
So I think we probably could actually argue that one.
You definitely could argue that one. What do we actually have planned now?
All right, so we're gonna kind of take a little half step back towards defensive stuff here.
Yeah.
We should have filmed it. We had a 45-minute argument discussion before hitting record today about this topic. We're going to talk about, should you use and have non-lethal on you and use in a situation? Neither of us carry non-lethal, but I think I actually... So the way the argument went...
After our discussion, I actually agree with them now, but...
I think you should have non-lethal and know how to use it and not either have, just have a gun or your fists. So, yeah, we're going to take this... I'm going to take the side of carry non-lethal, and you're going to take the side of there's no point.
Don't carry the non-lethal.
You said you don't think there's a point. So,
yeah,
we're not getting back into guns, but should there be something between fisticuffs and bullets?
It bothers me that you say fisticuffs because I don't think those are an option.
You don't like fisticuffs?
No, I just don't think fighting is once you're there, it's time to blat some people. So.
I mean, it depends on the person and skill set. And actually, when I first wrote down the idea, it was non-lethal versus like learning to fight, training to fight, or just going non-lethal. And that's kind of how it started, but then we kind of went down to let's just talk about non-lethal and not non-lethal, because that's what we started arguing.
Right, well, and I didn't agree that fists weren't non-lethal either. Seen these bad boys? Freaking flame and other flame, because I don't have a name for it.
What was it, Anchorman? Jack Johnson and... I can't remember the other...
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's lightning and thunder and...
Oh, yeah, lightning and thunder.
Cut and chow.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about next week.
Okay.
Again, let us know ideas that you would like us to talk about. It can be silly. We might start actually getting into some just fun.
Yeah, I want to do what's the one that's on there?
Base camp versus backpacking.
Base camp versus backpacking. We actually like camping.
Yeah.
So we want to start talking about stuff like that. But hey.
We might get into some business-related stuff and marketing-related stuff. We're just, the world's our oyster.
Good phrase. Anyways, tell us what you want to think.
What's better, oysters or clams?
Ooh, neither. Mahi is the best all-around seafood.
It's not a shellfish. It's not a shell thing, though.
I typically just
comparing
leave
shell
things
things
with
without
shells
shell
alone,
I like shell things.
except for crab. Oh, crab.
I'm so hungry.
All right, here's the deal. We got to get off this thing. We're going over too long. So we'll see you guys next week. When you come hang out with us on our channel, please subscribe, hit the little bell button. Remember that we need your help because we're running out of ideas. So please put in the comment things that we should talk about. And we'll see you next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Cheers.